There are over 600 people on California death row. Michael Cook, 16 years on death row. Two elderly women were killed when Cook set fire to their mobile home so he could burglarize neighboring trailers. James Dixon, 16 years on death row. Dixon and two others abducted a woman in Pomona, forced her to empty her bank account, and then slit her throat and left her body in the mountains. Ralph Flores, 16 years on death row. An Azusa 13 gang enforcer, Flores killed 4 people over a span of 5 years. Travis Frazier, 16 years on death row. In prison for murder, Frazier and another inmate who identified themselves as skinheads stabbed to death a prisoner who had fallen into disfavor with a white prison gang. Michael Lamb, 16 years on death row. Lamb, a member of a white supremacist gang and an accomplice, killed another member who revealed gang information by appearing on a local television news show in disguise. Luis Mendoza, 16 years on death row. In a gang power grab that became known as the Dead President's Case, Mendoza and 3 others killed 4 men. Carl Molano, 16 years on death row. He essayed and strangled a neighbor. The crime remained unsolved until his ex-wife came forward in 2001 after her former husband was returned to prison for choking her. Barry Mosley, 16 years on death row. Mosley killed 2 women and a teenage girl and essayed and attempted to murder the 8-year-old daughter of one of his victims in Los Angeles in 1999 and then in 2000. Anthony Navarro, 16 years on death row. Navarro was one of 4 gang members hired to abduct and kill a businessman so his sister could take over the family enterprise. The getaway driver in the killing, Alberto Martinez, also was condemned. Jesus Penuelas, 16 years on death row. Penuelas and 2 accomplices went to the home of a co-worker to steal money she was saving to buy a car, essayed her, and put her in the trunk of a car. After driving to a rural area, Penuelas pulled the woman out of the trunk and repeatedly drove over her with his car. Theodore Shove, 16 years on death row. Shove hired a hitman to kill an elderly couple in order to take over their surplus hardware and tool business. Justin Thomas, 16 years on death row. Fearing he would be turned in to the police, Thomas in 1992 killed a man who sold him meth. In 1996, he killed a woman in Texas for which he received a life term. Ronald Tran, 16 years on death row. Tran and Noel Plata, both 25, pushed their way into the home of an 18-year-old woman, hogtied her, and tortured her until she revealed where her family had hidden their valuables. Then they killed her. Javier Victoriane, 16 years on death row. Victoriane essayed and killed a 37-year-old woman and a 16-year-old girl in Riverside County a year apart after they rebuffed his sexual advances. He left their bodies bound, one hanging in a closet and the other from a tree. He was tried and condemned 7 years later. Brent Volovich, 16 years on death row. The son of a Bay Area police officer who killed himself after robbing a bank in 1997, Volovich fatally shot a California Highway Patrol officer during a routine traffic stop. Jason Aguirre, 15 years on death row. At the behest of the Dragon family gang, Aguirre fired into a car he was told held rival gang members. The victims instead were family members who had gone out for fish tacos. The youngest, 13, bled to death. Paul Baker, 15 years on death row. Baker killed a 60-year-old woman who had taken him in after she met him at Alcoholics Anonymous. During trial, he was accused of essaying women he had met at recovery groups. He interrupted his own trial by screaming and smearing his face in his own feces. Ruben Becerrada, 15 years on death row. Becerrada, a Los Angeles gang member, essayed his girlfriend and then stabbed and strangled her to death after she reported the assault to authorities. Stephen Cheatham, 15 years on death row. Cheatham fatally shot 2 people, including a 14-year-old girl, and attempted to murder 2 others. Skylar De Leon, 15 years on death row. De Leon posed as a prospective buyer of a yacht owned by a Newport Beach couple. He convinced them to take him and 2 other men out to sea, where the 3 men threw the couple overboard. De Leon and John Kennedy were sentenced to death. The other man and De Leon's wife were sentenced to prison for their parts in the crime. Calvin Dennis, 15 years on death row. Dennis and Rayon Ingram were convicted of killing a father and son as part of a robbery in Compton in 2006. The man had robbed Derek Kellum Sr. of his wallet, then lured him to the scene of his death by offering to return it. Kellum was shot 9 times. His 10-year-old son was also shot. Steve Evans, 15 years on death row. A registered sex offender, Evans stabbed to death a woman whose body was found inside a trailer. Jose Guerrero, 15 years on death row. Guerrero killed 3 women from 1995 through 1998 and attacked a 4th, slashing her throat and face. Kai Harris, 15 years on death row. Harris and another man in 2004 killed a rival gang member in a drug dispute, then shot 3 women who witnessed the attack, killing 1. Rayon Ingram, 15 years on death row. Together with Calvin Dennis, they were convicted of killing a father and a son as part of a robbery in Compton in 2006. Stephen Jones, 15 years on death row. Jones was sentenced to death for fatally shooting 1 man in a car wash robbery and bludgeoning a woman to death at a Lancaster motel. He also attacked his roommates with a hatchet, robbed and stabbed a man in Arizona, essayed a cellmate in Los Angeles jail, and attempted to kill another prisoner. Daryl Kemp, 15 years on death row. Kemp was condemned to death for the 1957 essay and murder of a nurse in her Los Angeles apartment. He was spared execution because of insanity, and, after capital punishment was overturned by the state, he was paroled in 1978. 4 months later, he murdered a woman jogging on a trail near Berkeley. He was not captured and went to Texas, where he raped 6 women. He eventually was convicted on DNA evidence. John Kennedy, 15 years on death row. Together with Skylar De Leon, they convinced a couple to take them aboard their yacht, where the couple was thrown overboard. Ricky Madison, 15 years on death row. After being released from prison, where he served time for stabbing a girlfriend to death, Madison killed another girlfriend in 2006, stabbing her 172 times. He was condemned to death by a Los Angeles jury. Carlos Martinez, 15 years on death row. Martinez murdered an elderly couple, ages 83 and 73, during a home invasion robbery in Orange County. Santiago Martinez, 15 years on death row. Martinez drew a life sentence for stabbing and shooting a Long Beach woman and a death sentence for killing his girlfriend 2 weeks later because she would not help him cover up the first murder. Dante McDaniel, 15 years on death row. McDaniel is a South Los Angeles gang member convicted of fatally shooting 2 people in a Watts home and attempting to kill 2 others. Please hit that subscribe button if you like my channel. See you next time. Bye bye.